Hi, I'm Lindsay Herman from Cake and Commerce, and today I'm going to show you how to make vegan and gluten-free grandma's chocolate cake. So the first thing we want to do before we even start mixing any ingredients with grandma's chocolate cake is over our stove, we are going to combine 1 cup of water with a half cup of alkalized cocoa. Now, alkalized is Dutch cocoa. It is a Dutch processed cocoa. I've done this recipe with regular chocolate as well, but it works a little better and there's better rise if you use alkalized cocoa. We do it over the heat using cold water and mixing constantly to thicken up the cocoa. We bring this to a boil because that's really the fastest way to get it to thicken up. It doesn't do anything to the cocoa except make it thick, really. We don't want to burn the bottom though, so that's why we're constantly stirring it, just checking to make sure that it isn't burning. At this point, it's pretty thick. So I am going to take it off the heat and just stir it a sec. I want to make sure that there's absolutely no burning and no hot spots. At this point, I can put it into another pan or let it sit here, but it is nice and thick now. So now that our cocoa is out of the way and is cooling, we can start mixing together our batter. So we can just throw in all of our dry ingredients, so tapioca, rice flour, we can put in all of our rapadura, we've got our teff, and our light buckwheat. And then I'm going to throw in just a little bit of guar gum, and a whole mess of baking powder and baking soda, and about a teaspoon of salt. Now meanwhile, before we start that mixing, over here I've got an ingredient that is called salba, and I've ground it myself in a spice grinder. Salba is, let me show you what salba looks like. It's from Peru, although it is a relative of something called chia, and it has better absorption of water than flaxseed does. It's also easier to digest, and I'm a big fan. It's kind of hard to find. It's becoming more and more common. You're seeing chia seeds as an ingredient in more gluten-free and healthy prepared foods and processed foods like granola bars and chips and things. But it's a great egg substitute. So we're going to combine it with about a 1/4 cup of water and just let it sit for a second and absorb the water. So we'll just set that aside for a sec because we're going to need that. So I'm just going to mix all of these flours together. Okay, it looks pretty good. So I'm just going to mix all of my wet ingredients, which is now the salba. I can show you what it looks like now that it's started absorbing water. It gets a little gummy. But that is actually really important in this. So we put our vanilla in. So this water, it's about 1 cup of water that has 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. And there is our salba. And then we can just pour it right in. Okay, and now we mix for 7 minutes. So once 7 minutes is over, we will add our cooled down cocoa mixture. So on the lowest speed, very slowly pour it in. So it's been 4 minutes and the batter is looking good. And I like to pour it into the cupcake pans from a 2-cup measuring Pyrex. It's just easier to handle. And I try to go about 3/4 of the way. Now we're going to just put this into a 325-degree oven. That's a convection oven. If we're going to use a standard oven, 350 degrees. So now that our cupcakes have cooled, we can finally ice them. I am using my piping bag, but if you don't have a piping bag, don't worry. You can just take a spoon, put a dollop on, make it look really home style. People love it. I mean, it just tastes really good, however you decide to decorate it. I'm just going to do a really simple pattern on top. Now I happen to like icing, so I'm going to be pretty generous with it. So once I've done that, I like to shave a little chocolate onto it. Nothing too fancy. Just gives it a little visual interest. And there we go. We have Grandma's chocolate cake made gluten-free, vegan, with a little buttery icing.